During the Gilded Age between 1870s and the 1900s, many business monopolies were formed that had the power to dominate society and government. There are two ways that the leaders of these vast corporations are perceived as robber barons or captains of industries.
The term captains of industries describes a business leader who has amassed a personal fortune and uses it to contribute back to society and the people. These captains of industries are known to expand markets, create jobs, and display acts of philanthropy. In contrast, the term robber barons connotes an entirely different type of business leader who takes advantage of cheap labor to achieve their own personal desires.
Their strong belief of social Darwinism causes them to have a condescending view over the public. They do not care about the conditions of their laborers, using methods such as the yellow dog contract or blacklisting to render any protests ineffective.
Firstly, we will show how captains of industry positively impacted the lives of people in society. This man is homeless. He lives in the most disastrous of conditions. He has no job, no future, and no purpose in life. As seen here, he searches for food in the most foul areas in society. He squanders for eggs among leftovers at the back alley of a restaurant. Being even more desperate, he even searches for food from the trash. At this desperate time, he's approached by Carnegie, who creates jobs for people like this through his steel industry. This way, they can earn a living and be given a chance to rise up the social ladder. Another way that the captains of industry give back to society, according to the Gospel of Wealth, is by donating to public institutes, such as libraries, to encourage the rise of education levels in society.
And robber barons are thought to be selfish and manipulative business leaders. The workers experience long, tough hours under poor and even dangerous conditions. Not only this, the workers also receive minimal pay for their efforts. Here, we see that the robber baron takes only a coin out of his vast wealth to pay this poor worker. He dies for the coin, showing his need to have an income to support himself and his family. Look at how desperate this man is. The frustrated workers attempt to strike against the overbearing business corporate. Instead of resolving the issue, the strikes fail due to the immense power of the robber baron. He can either fire them, as shown here, or he can use other methods to put down labor unions, such as yellow dog contracts, company towns, and blacklisting. These tactics, especially blacklisting, are extremely detrimental towards the worker's future life. Here, the blacklisted worker, fired from his previous job, is trying to find a job. Being blacklisted, he is branded as a troublemaker. As such, companies will not hire him. These are some examples of the events that took place between the captains of industries and the robber barons.
Now we will go into a more in-depth analysis and we will synthesize a conclusion between the robber barons and the captains of industry.
As shown in the video, the ambitious corporate leaders may seem ruthless in their tactics, especially to workers and rival businesses. Rockefeller was one such robber baron that showed little mercy in the business world, preying on competitors through horizontal integration. This meant that Rockefeller monopolized the entire oil market by allying with or buying out competitors, forcing weaker corporations into the wall. The railroad king Vanderbilt gained so much power that he was at times stronger than the law and used corrupt methods to directly manipulate many people. This was demonstrated by the railroad businesses pooling together or dividing the business in an area to share profits, and also granting secret kickbacks to powerful shippers while charging higher rates on the competing lines. The reasoning behind these men was that of social Darwinism, which meant that the business world was where the fittest survive, and so the strongest business would have every right to control the entire industry and form monopolies.
Yet, even though these men controlled much of the business and industries in the country, they still contributed back to the people. As stated before, they strongly believed in the gospel of wealth written by Andrew Carnegie. This was the thought that an entrepreneur must bear the responsibility of distributing his fortune back to society that will be put into good use. Universities, libraries, and hospitals were all primary sources that would receive these benefits. Carnegie alone contributed $350 million during his lifetime. $56 million of the 350 were spent to build 2,509 libraries throughout the English-speaking world. Rockefeller was a philanthropist as well. He devoted the last 26 years of his life to this endeavor. He established the University of Chicago. He was a generous benefactor of Columbia, Harvard, and Yale. He created the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research and created the General Education Board. Vanderbilt also contributed, but on a much smaller scale, with a contribution of $1 million in the founding of Vanderbilt University in Tennessee. Moreover, they created more efficient and reliable technology that further advanced society. First, Carnegie helped to create a stronger and cheaper way to produce steel using the Bessemer process, thus dropping prices on steel and paved the way for more advanced buildings and structures such as skyscrapers. Vanderbilt, with the creation of his railroads, joined eastern and western United States. And with the use of the new steel from Carnegie, he was able to create safer railroads by replacing iron tracks with stronger and more reliable steel ones. Lastly, these men boosted the economy. By the 1900s, America produced one-third of the world's supply of steel, which was as much as Britain and Germany combined. Vertical integration created by Carnegie proved to be an efficient means to production. By buying out the suppliers for the company, it made the supplies more reliable and controlled its quality at all stages of production and eliminated middleman fees. Rockefeller made oil cheaper and more widely available, which contributed to rapid growth of the economy because it was needed for electricity and automobiles. All in all, these men, despite ruthless tactics in their business, proved to revolutionize technology, boosted the economy, and distributed wealth back to society, and they can be considered as captains of industry.